The shocking betrayal, the text that shattered everything. Ava Munro's hands trembled as she stared at the glowing phone screen in the darkness of her bedroom. 3:47 am. The text message wasn't meant for her. It was meant for him. Her husband, Daniel. The man sleeping peacefully beside her, his chest rising and falling with the rhythm of someone who had nothing to hide. But he did last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you. When can we meet again? The message had arrived on Daniel's phone, which lay charging on the nightstand. Ava had only glanced at it because a notification had lit up the room. She'd reached over, thinking it might be an emergency. Instead, she found a knife thrust straight into her heart. Her breath caught. Her vision blurred. 7 years of marriage, 7 years of trust, laughter, and promises whispered in the dark. All of it, a lie. Ava's mind raced. Who is Elle? Her thoughts spiraled through every woman they knew. Colleagues, neighbors, friends. The possibilities were endless, each one more poisonous than the last. She wanted to scream, to shake him awake, to demand answers. But something stopped her. A cold, calculated voice in the back of her mind whispered, "Don't react. Observe, because if she confronted him now, he'd just lie. He'd spin some story, delete the evidence, and make her feel crazy for even questioning him." No. She needed proof. She needed to know everything. Ava quietly slipped out of bed, careful not to disturb Daniel. She took his phone into the bathroom and locked the door. Her fingers moved with mechanical precision as she opened his messages. What she found destroyed her, the secret life of Daniel Munro. Dozens of messages. Months of conversations. Photos she couldn't bear to look at for more than a second. Hotel receipts. Restaurant reservations on nights he'd claimed to be working late. Business trips that weren't business at all. And there, woven through it all, was a name. Lily Chen. Ava's stomach twisted into knots. Lily, Daniel's work colleague. The woman he'd mentioned casually over dinners, describing her as brilliant and driven. The woman Ava had actually met at the company holiday party last December, smiling sweetly, shaking Ava's hand, complimenting her dress while secretly sleeping with her husband. The betrayal wasn't just Daniel's. It was Lily's too. She'd looked Ava in the eye and lied. Ava scrolled further back, her heart breaking with every swipe. The affair had been going on for almost a year. A year. While Ava had been planning their anniversary trip. While she'd been talking about starting a family. While she'd been faithful, devoted, trusting, she read one message that made her blood run cold. Does she suspect anything? Lily, no. Ava's too naive to ever think I'd cheat. She trusts me completely. Daniel, perfect. Keep it that way. I'm not ready to give you up yet. Lily. Ava's hands shook so violently, she nearly dropped the phone. Naive? That's what he thought of her? That she was some clueless, pathetic wife who'd never question him? Rage flooded her veins. Hot, consuming, unstoppable. But beneath the rage was something sharper. Something dangerous. Determination. The mask of the perfect wife. Ava carefully placed Daniel's phone back on the nightstand exactly where it had been. She crawled back into bed beside him, her body rigid with fury, but her face perfectly calm. When morning came, she woke him with a kiss on the forehead, just like she always did. Good morning, sweetheart, she whispered. Her voice steady. Daniel stretched and smiled, that same charming smile that had once made her fall in love with him. Now it just made her sick. Morning. Beautiful, he murmured, pulling her close. Sleep well? Ava forced herself not to flinch at his touch. Like a baby, she made him breakfast, scrambled eggs, toast, fresh coffee. She asked about his day, laughed at his jokes, kissed him goodbye at the door. And the entire time, she wore a mask so perfect that Daniel suspected nothing. But inside, Ava was plotting. The investigation begins over the next few days. Ava became a detective in her own marriage. She tracked Daniel's every move. She installed a hidden app on his phone that mirrored all his messages to her email. She checked their bank statements and credit card bills, finding transaction after transaction that painted a picture of deception. Expensive hotels, designer gifts she'd never received, dinners at restaurants they'd never been to together. He'd spent their money on another woman. Ava also started following him. She'd take sick days from her job as a graphic designer and trail him discreetly in her car, watching as he met Lily for secret lunches, as they checked into hotels in the middle of the day, as they kissed in parking garages like lovesick teenagers. Each sighting fueled her rage, but Ava kept it buried deep. She smiled at Daniel every night. She played the role of the devoted wife flawlessly, because she wasn't just gathering evidence anymore. She was building a plan. The unexpected ally one afternoon, while sitting in a coffee shop across from one of Daniel and Lily's meeting spots, Ava noticed someone else watching them too. A man. Tall, dark-haired, with sharp features and eyes that burned with barely contained fury. He sat in a corner booth, his gaze locked on the hotel entrance where Daniel and Lily had just disappeared. Curiosity got the better of Ava. She approached him cautiously. Excuse me, she said softly. I don't mean to intrude, but are you watching those two people who just went inside? The man looked up at her, and Ava saw her own pain reflected in his expression. My wife, he said, his voice rough with emotion. Lily, she told me she was at a work conference. Ava's breath caught. Daniel, my husband. He told me he had back-to-back meetings all day. They stared at each other. Two strangers united by the same devastating betrayal. The man extended his hand. Marcus Chen. Ava shook it. Ava Monroe. And in that moment, something dangerous was born. Not romance, not yet, but an alliance. A shared purpose. They've been lying to us for almost a year, Ava said quietly. Marcus's jaw tightened. I know. I've known for 3 months. I've been gathering evidence for the divorce. Just divorce? Ava asked, her eyes glinting with something darker. Marcus studied her for a long moment. What did you have in mind? Ava leaned forward, her voice dropping to a whisper. I want them to feel what we feel. I want them to lose everything they care about. I want revenge. Marcus's lips curved into a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Then, we should talk. The plan takes shape over the next 2 weeks. Ava and Marcus met in secret, carefully constructing their plan. They shared evidence, compared notes, and discovered just how deep the betrayal ran. Daniel and Lily weren't just having an affair. They'd been planning to leave their spouses and start a new life together. They'd opened a joint bank account. They'd been looking at apartments. They were going to abandon Ava and Marcus like they were nothing. They think we're too weak to fight back, Marcus said one evening as they sat in his car overlooking the city. They think we'll just cry and accept it. Ava's eyes hardened. Then let's show them how wrong they are. The plan was elegant in its cruelty. They wouldn't just expose the affair. They'd dismantle Daniel and Lily's entire lives, piece by piece, until they had nothing left. Not their jobs, not their reputations, not each other. And they'd do it in a way that Daniel and Lily would never see coming. The first strike, the opportunity came sooner than expected. Daniel's company was hosting a major gala, a black tie event celebrating the firm's anniversary. All the senior partners would be there. All their colleagues, all their clients. Daniel had invited Ava as his plus one, of course. The perfect, unsuspecting wife. But Ava had her own plans for that night. As she stood in front of her bedroom mirror, zipping up an elegant black dress, she caught Daniel's reflection behind her. "You look stunning," he said, wrapping his arms around her waist. Ava met his eyes in the mirror and smiled sweetly. "Thank you, darling. Tonight's going to be unforgettable." Daniel laughed, oblivious. "It's just a work party, babe." Eva's smile widened, and for just a moment, something dangerous flickered in her eyes. "Oh, I know," she whispered. "That's exactly what I'm counting on." What revenge does Ava have planned for the gala? Will Daniel and Lily's perfect facade finally crumble in front of everyone? And what role will Marcus play in this dangerous game? Stay tuned for Heartbreak and Revenge. Heartbreak and Revenge, the calm before the storm. The gala was everything Daniel's firm wanted it to be. Elegant, sophisticated, and crawling with the city's elite. Crystal chandeliers cast soft light over well-dressed guests who sipped champagne and exchanged pleasantries. The ballroom of the Grandview Hotel hummed with polite conversation, and the gentle clink of glasses. Deva arrived on Daniel's arm, looking every bit the perfect wife. Her black dress hugged her curves elegantly, her makeup was flawless, and her smile, practiced over weeks of deception, was radiant. Daniel introduced her to colleagues and clients, his hand resting possessively on the small of her back. To everyone watching, they were the picture of marital bliss. But Ava's eyes were scanning the room for one person, Lily Chen. She spotted her across the ballroom, wearing a stunning red dress that probably cost more than Ava's monthly salary. Lily was laughing at something a senior partner said, her hand casually brushing his arm. Always the charmer, always playing the game. Their eyes met for a brief moment. Lily's smile faltered just slightly, a flicker of, what? Guilt? Fear? It was gone too quickly to tell. Ava's smile never wavered. She raised her champagne glass in a subtle toast. Enjoy it while it lasts, Ava thought. In about an hour, your world ends. The setup. Ava excused herself to the restroom. But instead of heading there, she made her way to a quiet hallway where Marcus was waiting. He looked sharp in his tuxedo, but his eyes held the same simmering rage she felt. "Are you ready?" he asked quietly. Ava nodded. "The presentation starts in 20 minutes. Daniel's giving the keynote address. That's when we strike." Marcus handed her a USB drive. "Everything's on here. Financial records showing how they've been funneling company money into their joint account. Hotel receipts, text messages, photos, all time-stamped and verified." Ava's fingers closed around the drive. "And the video?" Marcus's jaw tightened. "That too. I set up a camera in Lily's home office last week when she thought I was away on business. What they said, what they admitted." His voice broke slightly, and Ava reached out, squeezing his hand. "We end this tonight," she said firmly. "Together." Marcus nodded, composing himself. "I've already queued everything up with the AvTech. He thinks it's a surprise anniversary video for the firm. When Daniel finishes his speech and calls for the special presentation, it'll play automatically." Ava felt her heart pound. This was it. The point of no return. Ava? Marcus's voice was gentle. "You're sure about this? Once we do this, there's no going back." Ava thought about every lie Daniel had told her. Every time he'd kissed her while smelling like Lily's perfume. Every night he'd made love to her while texting another woman. Every moment of her trust he'd shattered. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life," she said. The speech Ava returned to the ballroom just as the lights dimmed. The firm's CEO took the stage, giving a brief welcome speech before introducing Daniel as one of their rising stars who would share the firm's vision for the future. Daniel strode confidently to the podium, flashing that practiced smile. Ava sat at a table near the front, her hands folded calmly in her lap, while Lily watched from across the room, her eyes glowing with pride. She's proud of him, Ava realized. She thinks she's won. Daniel's speech was polished and professional, full of corporate buzzwords and optimistic projections. The audience was engaged, nodding along, clearly impressed. Eva barely heard a word. Her heart was hammering so hard she was sure everyone could hear it. Finally, Daniel reached the end of his prepared remarks. And now, he said with a warm smile, I'd like to show you all something special. A video that truly captures the heart of what we've built here. The relationships, the trust, the foundation of everything we do. He gestured to the AV booth, and the massive screen behind him flickered to life. Eva held her breath. The unraveling the video began innocently enough, sweeping shots of the firm's offices, smiling employees, happy clients. A few people in the audience relaxed, expecting a standard corporate promotional video. But then, the footage cut abruptly. Suddenly, the screen showed Daniel and Lily in a hotel room. The camera angle was from Daniel's phone, propped up on a nightstand. One of the videos they'd sent each other. Lily was wearing nothing but one of Daniel's shirts, laughing as he kissed her neck. The ballroom went deathly silent. Daniel, we should just tell them. Lily's voice came through the speakers crystal clear. We've been sneaking around for a year. I'm tired of hiding. On screen, Daniel pulled her into his lap. Soon, baby, I promise. Ava's too dependent on me. If I leave now, she'll make it messy. I need to wait until the partnership's finalized. Then I'll have the leverage to make the divorce clean. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Heads turned to stare at Ava, then back at the screen. Daniel stood frozen at the podium, his face drained of all color. Lily had risen from her seat, one hand pressed to her mouth in horror. But the video continued. And Marcus? Daniel asked on screen. What about him? Lily laughed, a cold, dismissive sound. Marcus is so pathetic. He actually believes I'm working late all those nights. I almost feel sorry for him. Almost. The camera angle shifted to another video. This one from Lily's home office. Marcus's hidden camera. Lily and Daniel were sitting on the couch, scrolling through their phones. Did you see the new apartment listings I sent you? Lily asked. Yeah, Daniel replied. That penthouse on Fifth Avenue is perfect. We can start fresh there. New life. New identity. Ava and Marcus will never bother us. Think they'll take the divorce as well? Daniel snorted. Who cares? By the time they realize what's happening, we'll have already emptied the joint accounts and moved everything into our names. They'll be too broke to hire decent lawyers. Lily grinned. You're terrible. I love it. The screen went black. Chaos erupts. The ballroom erupted into chaos. People were shouting, gasping, pulling out their phones to record what was happening. The CEO's face was purple with rage as he stormed toward the AV booth. Daniel stumbled back from the podium as if he'd been struck. His eyes frantically searched the crowd until they landed on Ava. She was standing now, her expression calm. Eerily calm. Ava, Daniel started, his voice desperate. It's not what it looks like, really. Ava's voice cut through the chaos like a blade. Because it looks like you and your mistress planning to ruin my life while stealing my money. Every head in the room swiveled to watch them. Lily tried to slip toward the exit, but Marcus stepped into her path, his expression thunderous. Going somewhere, darling? His voice dripped with venom. Lily's face crumpled. Marcus, please, I can explain? Marcus's laugh was harsh and bitter. You're going to explain how you've been sleeping with him for a year? How you've been stealing from me? How you called me pathetic while wearing the jewelry I bought you? Security guards had moved to block the exits. The CEO had taken the stage, his voice booming through the microphone. Daniel Monroe, Lily Chen, you are both terminated effective immediately. Security will escort you out. Our legal team will be in contact regarding the embezzlement charges. Daniel's face went white. Embezzlement? What are you talking about? The CEO's eyes were cold. Mrs. Monroe was kind enough to provide us with detailed financial records showing how you've been funneling company expense funds into a personal account. We've already contacted the authorities. The sweet taste of revenge as security guards approached, Daniel turned desperately to Ava. How could you do this? I'm your husband. Ava stepped closer, her voice low enough that only he could hear. You stopped being my husband the moment you texted her. Everything that happens now, you did this to yourself. Daniel's eyes filled with tears, not remorse, Ava realized, but self-pity. He wasn't sorry for what he'd done. He was sorry he got caught. I loved you, he whispered. Ava's smile was cold. No, you didn't. But you're about to learn what it feels like to lose everything you love. Security grabbed his arms and began leading him away. Lily was being similarly escorted, her mascara running down her face as she sobbed. The crowd parted for them like they were diseased. As they reached the doors, Daniel turned back one last time. This isn't over. Ava raised her champagne glass. Oh, sweetheart, for you? It's just beginning. The aftermath after the security guards removed Daniel and Lily, the ballroom slowly began to empty. Guests whispered and stared, their phones already spreading the story across social media. Marcus approached Ava, his expression a mixture of exhaustion and grim satisfaction. We did it, he said quietly. Ava nodded, but she didn't feel victorious. She felt hollow. Yes, they'd exposed Daniel and Lily. Yes, justice had been served. But it didn't change the fact that her marriage was over, that the man she'd loved had betrayed her in the worst possible way. You okay? Marcus asked gently. Ava met his eyes, those dark, understanding eyes that had seen the same pain she had. I will be, she said. Eventually. Marcus hesitated, then offered his arm. Can I buy you a drink? Not here. Somewhere quieter. Ava considered for a moment, then slipped her arm through his. I'd like that. As they walked out of the ballroom together, Ava felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. Not for romance. Not yet. They were both too wounded, too raw, but maybe, just maybe, they could help each other heal. The phone call later that night, as Ava sat in her empty apartment, her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of her. Hello? Heavy breathing on the other end. Then a voice, Daniel's voice, but different. Desperate. Broken. Ava, please. You have to listen to me. I don't have to do anything. Ava said coldly. The police arrested me. They're charging me with embezzlement and fraud. I could go to prison for 10 years. Ava, please. You have to tell them it was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. You stole from your company. You stole from me. I'll do anything, Daniel begged. I'll give you everything in the divorce. The house, the cars, the savings. Just please, too late, Ava said softly. You already gave me everything I needed. The truth. Ava. She hung up. For a long moment, she stared at her phone, at the photo that was still her lock screen, her and Daniel on their wedding day, both smiling, both so hopeful. With steady hands, she deleted the photo, then she opened her messages and found Marcus's number. Thank you, she typed, for helping me find my strength. His reply came almost immediately. Thank you for reminding me I deserve better. Ava smiled. A real smile this time, not the mask she'd been wearing. The unexpected twist. 3 days later, Ava was sorting through boxes in her apartment, packing up the remnants of her marriage, when there was a knock at her door. She opened it to find a woman she'd never seen before, mid-30s, dressed in a business suit, with kind eyes and a nervous expression. Can I help you? Ava asked. The woman hesitated. Are you Ava Monroe? Yes, My name is Rachel Torres. I was Daniel's girlfriend. Before you. Ava's stomach dropped. What? Rachel's eyes filled with tears. He never told you, did he? We dated for 3 years. He proposed to me. And then one day, he just disappeared. Cleaned out our joint account, blocked my number, and vanished. I found out months later that he'd married you. Fa's head spun. No, that's not. He was single when we met. He said he lied, Rachel said softly. Just like he lied to you about Lily. Daniel's a con artist, Effa. I've been tracking his patterns for years, and when I saw the news about what happened at the gala, I knew I had to warn you. Warn me about what? Rachel's expression turned grave. Daniel doesn't just cheat and steal. He destroys lives systematically. And the women he targets? They all have one thing in common. Ava's blood ran cold. What? Rachel pulled out a folder filled with documents and photographs. They're all beneficiaries of substantial life insurance policies. Ava's hands trembled as she took the folder. Inside were police reports, news articles, and photos of 3 different women, all dead under suspicious circumstances. All of them had been engaged to or married to men who looked remarkably similar to Daniel, though the names were different. Oh my God, Ava whispered. Rachel's voice was urgent. I think Daniel was planning to kill you, Ava. After the divorce, you would have been vulnerable, isolated, easy to manipulate into some accident. That's his pattern. And I think, she paused, swallowing hard, I think Lily might be his accomplice. Ava's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You shouldn't have embarrassed me, Ava. Now you're going to pay. See you soon. Ava's blood turned to ice. The ultimate payback. The revelation. Ava stared at the threatening text message, her hands shaking so badly she nearly dropped her phone. Rachel grabbed her shoulders, forcing Ava to meet her eyes. Ava, listen to me. We need to go to the police. Right now. But Ava's mind was racing ahead, connecting dots she should have seen before. Daniel's insistence on taking out that massive life insurance policy last year. His casual suggestions that she should drive more carefully, that the stairs in their house were dangerous, that she should always tell him where she was going. He hadn't been concerned for her safety. He'd been planning her murder. He knew, Ava whispered. When he bought that policy, he was already planning this. How long has he been? Her phone rang. Marcus. Ava. His voice was tight with panic. Where are you? Home. Why? What's wrong? Lily made bail. She called me 20 minutes ago from a burner phone. Ava, she's not working alone with Daniel. There are others. This is bigger than we thought. You need to get out of there now. Before Ava could respond, her apartment lights flickered and went out. The building's emergency backup lights clicked on, casting everything in an eerie red glow. Rachel's eyes went wide. Someone cut the power. The chase. Ava grabbed her car keys and her phone. Rachel, we need to move. Now. They ran for the door, but as Ava reached for the handle, she heard footsteps in the hallway. Slow, deliberate, multiple sets. Rachel pulled her back. The fire escape. This way, they sprinted through the apartment to Ava's bedroom window. The old metal fire escape groaned under their weight as they climbed down 3 stories. Ava's heart hammered against her ribs. They reached the alley and ran toward the street, but a black SUV screeched around the corner, headlights blazing, heading straight for them. Move, Rachel screamed. They dove behind a dumpster as the SUV roared past, so close Ava felt the heat from its engine. The vehicle skidded to a stop, and 2 men jumped out, both wearing dark clothes and surgical masks, Not random attackers. Professional. Ava and Rachel ran in the opposite direction, their footsteps echoing off brick walls. Behind them, the men gave chase. Ava's phone buzzed in her pocket. Marcus again. "Where are you?" he demanded, being chased. "Alley behind my building." Ava gasped, lungs burning. "I'm 2 blocks away. Get to the main street. I'll meet you there." They burst onto the main street, and Ava spotted Marcus's car screeching to a halt. Rachel and Ava threw themselves into the back seat as the masked men emerged from the alley. Marcus floored the accelerator, tires smoking. "Who the hell are those people?" he shouted. "Professionals," Rachel said, struggling to catch her breath. Daniel didn't just plan to kill Ava. He hired people to do it. The truth unfolds. Marcus drove them to a 24-hour diner on the outskirts of the city, the kind of place where nobody asked questions. They huddled in a back booth, and Rachel spread her evidence across the table. "I've been investigating Daniel for 3 years, Rachel explained, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "After he disappeared on me, I couldn't let it go. I hired a private investigator. That's when I found the others." She pointed to the photographs of the dead women. Sarah Chen, Miami 2019. Jessica Hartley, Phoenix 2020. Melissa Vaughn, Seattle 2021. All married to men who used different names but had the same face, same MO. Whirlwind romance, quick marriage, large insurance policy, then accidental death within 18 months. Ava felt sick. "And Lily?" "Lily's his partner," Rachel said. "She plays the mistress, creates conflict in the marriage, isolates the wife, makes her vulnerable. When the accident happens, Daniel looks like a grieving husband who can't be blamed. He collects the insurance, disappears, changes his identity, and they do it all over again in a new city." Marcus's jaw clenched. "So I was just collateral damage." Rachel nodded sympathetically. "You were Lily's safety net, someone to provide stability and financial support, while she worked the long con with Daniel. But after tonight's exposure, you've become a liability. They'll come for you too." "So what do we do?" Ava asked, her voice stronger than she felt. "Go to the police?" Rachel shook her head. "I've tried. 3 times. Daniel has connections. He's been doing this for at least 5 years that I know of. He's got cops on his payroll, judges, lawyers. Every time I get close, evidence disappears. Witnesses change their stories, or I get threatened into backing off. Then, we have to take him down ourselves," Marcus said quietly. The plan. Over the next hours, the 3 of them constructed a plan that was equal parts desperation and brilliance. Rachel had been gathering evidence for years: financial records, witness statements, forensic analysis of the accidents, everything the police would need to build an airtight case. But they needed something more. They needed Daniel to confess. "He's arrogant," Ava said. "And he's angry. I embarrassed him in front of everyone he cares about. He'll want to gloat, to make me understand how stupid I was. So, we give him the opportunity," Marcus said. "We lure him out." Rachel pulled out a small recording device. "If you can get him to admit what he's done on tape, I know a federal prosecutor who'll listen. She's not local. She can't be bought." Ava took the device, turning it over in her hands. "How do we lure him?" Marcus met her eyes. "We use his weakness, his ego. We make him think he's won. The trap." The next morning, Ava sent Daniel a text from a burner phone. "You win. I can't fight anymore. I'm alone, scared, and I just want this to end. Meet me at the Riverside warehouse at midnight. We'll talk. No lawyers, no police, just us. I'll sign whatever you want." She waited, barely breathing, until her phone buzzed with his response. "Finally, see you at midnight. Come alone, Ava. If I see anyone else, the deal's off and you'll regret it. He took the bait. Ava said. Rachel squeezed her hand. Are you sure you want to do this? He's dangerous. Ava thought about every woman in those photographs, about how close she'd come to being another victim, about how many more women would die if they didn't stop him. I'm sure, she said. Midnight confrontation. The Riverside warehouse was abandoned, all crumbling brick and broken windows. The perfect place for something terrible to happen. Ava arrived at 11:45, wearing a wire under her jacket, with Marcus and Rachel positioned outside with cameras and backup phones ready to call the police. The warehouse interior smelled of rust and decay. Moonlight filtered through holes in the roof, casting everything in silver shadows. Ava heard footsteps behind her and turned. Daniel emerged from the darkness, and for a moment, Ava barely recognized him. Gone was the charming businessman. In his place stood something cold and predatory. Hello, Ava, he said softly. I knew you'd see reason. You were going to kill me, Ava said, voice steady. When? Daniel smiled, that horrible empty smile. Does it matter? But since we're being honest, next month. Car accident. Faulty brakes. Very tragic. Why? Ava's voice cracked. I loved you, love, Daniel laughed. You were a mark, Ava. A very profitable mark. Do you have any idea how much money I've made doing this? $4 million over 5 years. Not bad for a few months of pretending to care. And the other women? Sarah, Jessica, Melissa? Daniel's eyebrows rose. Impressed. You've been doing your homework. Yes, them too. They were all so easy, lonely, trusting, desperate for love, just like you. The recording device in Ava's pocket captured every word. What about Lily? Ava asked. Does she know you were planning to kill her too? Daniel's expression flickered. Surprise, then annoyance. Who told you that? Nobody had to tell me, Ava lied smoothly. I found the policy, Daniel. The one you took out on Lily 6 months ago. Same insurance company, same payout structure. She's your next victim, isn't she? The betrayal within a betrayal. Suddenly, another voice cut through the darkness. Is that true, Daniel? Lily stepped into the light, her face pale, eyes wide with betrayal. Daniel's mask slipped completely. Lily, is it true? Lily screamed, it's business. Daniel shouted back, you think I was going to split millions with you forever? You were always going to be temporary. Lily's face twisted with rage and hurt. She pulled a gun from her purse, not to threaten Ava, but aimed straight at Daniel.